What's going on, guys? This is Cole, aka Proximitty, bringing you a brand new video today. I've had this one requested a lot. I'm bringing you some tips on how to stay alive longer or trying to play your life getaway without getting killed so easily. So I'm going to try to run down a few tips I have for you today. I have a few good ones, I think. And yeah, we'll get right into it. So the first big tip that I want to talk about here is something called strong sighting. Now, strong sighting got popular in the earlier Halos, and I believe it was most effective in Halo 3. But the principle of strong sighting is to keep your head down when you're trying to walk away from a gunfight. So if Seth is running away here, this is him not strong sighting. That was a very easy shot for me. If he was trying to run and he's clearly trying to get around this corner, he's a really easy target. And if he was sprinting and I'm shooting him, he's going to be very slow. I'll still be able to do it, and his head will still be very visible. So if you're strong sighting, your head is between your legs, and I cannot see his head from this angle. So if Seth's strong sighting here and he's trying to get around that corner, as you see, it makes it harder for me to hit his head. I'm not able to do so because his head is between his legs. Now, it's not as effective as it was in Halo 3 for sure, but it's still a good practice to have. It makes you that much harder to kill. It makes your head that much harder to hit. So if you keep your head between your legs, just look down while you're rounding corners, you know, it makes you very difficult to hit. And a lot of that is, you know, going into map awareness. You know, you have to know where you are on the map so you can, you know, still navigate properly while looking down. But it's just a good habit to have. You know, in like that simulation I did right there, if I know that I'm trying to get off of a ledge or something, let's just say that, you know, Seth was across map shooting at me and I want to get away. If I turn around, I'm just going to dip my head and drop. Just like at any point, it's a good habit to have to be looking straight down to avoid getting hit. Just avoid having that easy headshot. I want to run down another example here, Seth strong sighting. Just one more time, have him strong side a little bit. As you see here, well, that time it gave it to me. Like I said, sometimes in Halo 5 it's not as effective, but it's definitely a good practice to be in anyways. It gives you, you know, makes your head a little harder to hit. So one more time here, guys. Here's Seth not strong sighting, just looking, standing perfectly straight up, looking like he normally would. And then here is him strong sighting. So you can see his head dip down. It makes it a lot harder to hit. And especially when they're like straight to the side as well, if he's running like this angle. So you can see his head gets really kind of weird and kind of hard to hit. So it's definitely a good practice to have. And strong sighting is definitely beneficial at longer ranges. That's definitely like a really, really good advantage of it. So you see him normal right now, and then you see him trying to strong side. You see I cannot see his head at all. So he just becomes like a really weird target. It's definitely a good practice to have. Another super effective thing is something that's referred to as the double back. And that's kind of like how the title suggests. You're just going to double back from like running around a corner. So let's say I have Seth in this situation here, and behind this little staircase is an empty space, right? So if we were in an engagement here and I shoot him twice or so, you know, he gets weak and he decides to run, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cut him off over here. But if Seth times it right and he's smart, he'd pull something called the double back. Now, let's see it from my perspective here. If Seth got me weak and I decide I was gonna run, I can assume he's gonna run around and cut me off and then double back when he tries to cut me off. So that is a super, super cheeky way and sneaky way to stay alive. You can apply that in a lot of scenarios. And additionally, you saw me break this way afterwards, but there's like multiple ways you can use this double back, probably in a lot of situations. Once again, if I'm trying to run here, and I run this way, wait for him, anticipate him to cut me off, and jump up here, now like, you know, I'm out of here. Like, I can jump, I can run, it doesn't matter. It's just a nice little thing that can buy you time. If you do it properly, you know, you can wait in a lot of situations. You know, you can do it in tons of ways. If I was here and Seth was a little farther back, he shoots me, and I run here, I wait, he's probably gonna go cut me off towards my flag if he was running the right way, and I can just double back. You know, there's tons of ways to do it. You can double back and challenge, you don't necessarily have to run. You know, Seth might be looking towards my flag up there, and I can just double back out and then have a free couple shots on him, you know. So, it's, you know, that's double back is an extremely useful thing to do, and that's another super good way to stay alive, and it can even help you win gun battles, as you just saw. So, practice the double back and use that in a lot of situations as well. Another super big tip that I want to mention, guys, is making sure that you have an escape route planned at all times. Just have it in your head. You know, right here, if I'm engaging with Seth, from my perspective, I have this bunker to dip behind. I can just back off and make him like not have an angle on me since I have the high ground. And from his perspective, he can either go to that little gap right there, or he could run beneath me and use his little thruster to like get out of the way. So being in any gunfight, you need to just have a couple ways that you're planning on leaving, and for whatever reason you feel like you need to run away. You know, maybe one of Seth's teammates rounds this corner right here, and I have two people on me all of a sudden, and I know I'm not winning a 1-on-2. Or maybe vice versa, one of my teammates shows up, and Seth knows he has no chance at winning that, so he's just going to dip. You know, playing your life in a lot of cases is knowing when and when not to challenge. If you're outnumbered, it's probably not a good idea to challenge. Hopefully you're playing with a team and you can communicate with them and call out the two people you see and just get out, because it's better for you to just make a call out, stay alive, and play your life than try to challenge somebody or challenge two people and just get absolutely melted. But in this situation as well, I want to point out another way to play your life. If I'm here and I make Seth one shot, he runs, and he runs beneath me, if I drop down after him, this is the dumbest thing that I could do. Now Seth is the entire advantage. You know, I don't know where he is, but he can assume where I'm about to drop down. And like, look at that. You know, like if I had a guess and I found him, but let's just say I was wrong. And if for any reason, chasing in this situation is not a good idea. Now say I thought he was here. Now look at that. Now I'm dead. He's got 2 free shots on me. You know, I'm going to lose that. It's just really not intelligent. Like I said previously, make the call out, but play your life. So even if you have the high ground, playing your life or staying alive in this situation would be just letting him go, not chasing him. You know, you guys might have a lot of problems with dying a lot, and you might not realize it's because you're chasing things where you're just like clearly at the disadvantage. So that's another thing to look out for. Try not to chase things like that in that situation. Or if Seth would have rounded a corner here, you know, it's very, very easy to just greet somebody with a nade as they're rounding the corner, you know, assuming they're going to chase you. Or just, you know, like, oh, I don't know, I could hop in this high ground here and then wait for him. You know, I'm not going to be expecting the person around the corner to be at high ground. Chasing things is you know, even if you're on the attack, even if they're weak and they're running, you still have to play your life as the person who made them run. So don't chase somebody blindly. Chasing is a terrible idea, and it oftentimes can get you killed if you do it, and it's a bad habit to have. So see if you can try to break that, and it might save your life a lot. So this last and final tip I have for you guys today is something that you can probably apply in a lot of situations in your gameplay, but it won't always be available to you. But it's just recognizing when something is going to be bad cover, insufficient cover for you, and trying to counter that. So if I'm going to gun battle here with Seth, and he makes me weak, I'm going to dip behind this pillar here. Now, I'm behind this pillar, both sides are exposed. I can assume that Seth is going to throw a grenade at me. So if he throws a grenade, I'm going to dip over here. So the whole point is what I'm trying to get at there is knowing that this is not going to cover me, and I'm going to die if I stay here. But I have an escape route is to go over to this part of cover, and it's never been easier to do than in Halo 5 since you have your thruster pack. So you really want to utilize that and try to use it to get away. So if in full speed here, we get in a gunfight, I dip behind here, I wait for a second, and then I move. See how I timed that? Now he's stuck in a grenade throwing animation. I don't have to worry about being shot, and his grenade's going to completely miss me. And even if I can't find another piece of cover, I can still jump out and try to counter it and try to engage him while he's stuck in that grenade throwing animation. I kind of covered that a little bit in my sniping tips. I did this on the same map, so if you guys are interested, I'm going to link it right now. But that's kind of the last tip I have for you guys right now. Just trying to like anticipate the other person's movements a lot. You know, trying to kill angles for him, trying to not make that easy for him, and just trying to kind of like get in the mind of the other person is help you stay alive. You know, try to counter what you think that they're going to do, and it can really, really help you stay alive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tip video. I'm going to try to do some more in the future on various other, you know, subjects. If you have any recommendations, leave them in the comment section below, and I will see, you know, which ones really seem like a popular one or like frequently asked, and I will try to cover those in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, that spawn! I feel so bad for you, man.